I think we're up. Holy moly! I think we're live. Pete and Brian are live all across the world.
There it is.
At least on Facebook.
Is live.
Broadcast is live on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we're so glad to have you all. For those of you who are watching this as a replay, we're glad you're watching it as a replay as well. But we are absolutely live right now, and glad to have everybody with us. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good over here in Denver, Colorado. Pete, how are you doing in Birmingham, Alabama?
Birmingham, Alabama is doing well. We had a successful day today, and we're happy to share some information and have some fun tonight. So, you want me to fire up the old opening here?
Yeah, maybe we'll do some leadership and laughs.
Let's go. Hey, we're back.
Hey,
how about that, huh?
That was really nice. Hi,
welcome, everybody. Good to see you in Leadership and Laughs. If you're watching us on Facebook or on LinkedIn, go ahead and comment along. You can give us the thumbs up there on social media. If you want to forward the link, if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, forward it to your friends so they can watch along. That would be awesome. But yeah, chat away at us. We're just happy to have you here tonight. If it's your first time, Brian, do you know what episode we're in right now, buddy?
If I'm not mistaken, this is episode 18 of our show, Leadership and Laughs.
Let's go. Episode 18, buddy. So we did our first 16 or so just on audio, and we decided last week to take this bad boy out for a spin and see what it looks like. And no one really complained. so we're gonna keep at it.
We have faces that were built for this.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. This is why we've been doing podcasting for so long. Yeah. Sometimes people just want to do this for us. Yeah. And then hey, no, we're still here. All right. Well, if you're new to the show, what we do is we take about an hour. We break it up into segments. It's not there's a lot of great shows out there that do interviews and things like that. Brian and I just like to share information, look over some current events, have some fun. We're going to play some games. We're going to talk about Disney because we worked there for a while. And just to take 45, 50 minutes out of your daily routine. We're not going to talk about vice presidential picks. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about COVID-19. I don't think we're talking about COVID tonight. So just a nice 45-minute to an hour break for y'all. Brian, you have no stories on COVID, do you?
Let's see. Everything is COVID related in one way or another. So it's entirely possible.
All right.
Say what?
So let's get going, my friend. Let me get you your open. Everybody, this is what we call leading off with Brian. This is where Brian starts the show. He takes 3 wacky, wonderful stories from the news, and I try to somehow relate them to leadership the best we can. Sometimes we succeed, and sometimes we don't. So let's get started with my buddy Brian.
All right.
Wish it faded out. Don't you wish that faded? I wish it faded out.
It's funny. It looks a little bit like the 20th Century Fox logo.
You mean the 20th century logo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Disney. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. All right. So our first story today takes place over in Beirut, Lebanon. So we all saw the terrible explosion that happened over there in the port of Beirut last week. And there were some really good heartening stories that came out of there. If you want to throw that first picture up there, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's a photographer named Bilal Javich just after that devastating explosion in Beirut last weekend. It really just highlights the reason that we celebrate all of our healthcare heroes and first responders. And what happened here is the blast happened really close to his neighborhood. And he went out. He said he followed the smoke until he reached the port of Beirut, and then walked into the nearly destroyed Al Room Hospital. And what he saw there was, awful and devastating and remarkable. He said he was amazed to see this nurse holding 3 newborns and calmly going about trying to help others. And he said it just kind of contrasted the surrounding atmosphere, which included, unfortunately, several dead people and injured people who were laying nearby. He says the nurse just looked like she was possessed of a hidden force that gave her self-control and the ability to save those children.
Well, yeah. I mean, how are you going to keep it all together? You've just seen an explosion. There's probably bodies everywhere. And she took it upon herself to start scooping up the children and taking care of that. That's with everything that's going on.
Right.
During that time.
Wow. We talked about this at Disney when we were training for, safety, to stay calm. And the nurse, whose name is Pamela Zainoun, ran down 4 flights of stairs while clutching those newborns to her chest. And she said the babies miraculously didn't have a scratch on them, even though the ceiling collapsed. And they are now reunited with their mothers, who also survived.
Wow.
And they said elsewhere in the city, there was a 79-year-old grandmother named May Aboud Melki who entered her house, which had been ripped apart by the blast. And it said, with broken glass and torn curtains around her, she sat down at her piano, which was a gift from her father on her wedding day. And she began to play. Her granddaughter said she pushed through the pain and tried to have a few moments of peace. And she first played Auld Lang Syne, and then started to play some Arabic hymns, which were very moving to the volunteers that were helping clean up around her. And anyway, there are lights in the darkness.
That's a good first story, because even over here right now, I mean, we get so focused on what's happening in our own town or our own backyard. So some bad storms came through the Midwest and did a lot of damage there. And we've got COVID and we've got schools opening, and everybody saw the blast in Beirut and we're like, oh, that's terrible. Got to move on to the next thing. I mean, if it's not affecting you at the time, you move on. So thanks for reminding us of that and just keeping us focused. All right. What else you got for us?
All right. So other leadership related stories.
Good news.
There's an 8-year-old boy named Grayson Winfield. Shout out to Grayson Winfield in Conway, South Carolina. There he is.
There he is, right there.
He's making a big difference in his community, one act of kindness at a time. He's been out mowing lawns for busy first responders and single moms, and feeding the hungry. What he's been doing to make this positive impact, he got with his parents, and with their help, they started an organization called Helping Footprint, which collects donations that are then used to buy gift cards or food, or used to help pay bills for area families. He is the son of 2 former firefighters. Both of his parents are firefighters, and he grew up around acts of service, which inspired him to do his part to help his community. So,
and look at how happy he looks too. I mean, he's helping people out. He's having a good time. Look at the children, right, to find out how we should be acting in life.
Right. And he's actually through his foundation, they've also donated Christmas gifts to less fortunate children. And I think the leadership lesson here is this really driven by the kid. He says, I want to help people. There are other people who have nobody to help them, and it's the right thing to do. So good job, Grayson.
Excellent job. And now, how in the world are we going to segue from just, people who are adding value and doing good things to this story, Brian? So somehow, good luck, buddy.
This is the laughs part of although I'm
all the good
you to tie it into leadership.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Tyson. Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion of the world, was so scared of diving with a 200-pound shark for Shark Week that he actually vomited.
Well, there he is. Dude, he's cut just like us, too, when you think of it.
Yeah.
So what happened? What did he do?
Three peas in a pod. He was on a Shark Week special called Tyson versus Jaws, and he was diving with 100-pound or 200-pound lemon sharks. Lemon sharks, I believe they were. But Iron Mike, he knocked out 44 opponents during his professional boxing career. But he can now add a shark to that list. So,
and he actually he threw up. He threw up. Is that what you said?
So he undertook a trio of increasingly difficult and frightening challenges with the sharks down in the Bahamas, and this was all in an effort to try and conquer his fears of returning to the ring. So apparently, even Mike Tyson gets a little scared of returning to the ring, and presumably sharks.
Let me tell you, his leadership lesson is easy, buddy. Courage. My buddy and friend Bill Treasurer writes a book and does a whole training thing on courage and courageous leadership. So we'll tag him in this and see if he'll get a Leadership and Laughs t-shirt if he comments when we talk about him. But the actual lesson is face your fears, buddy, right? Face your fears. You've got to get out there. You only live once. Pick a management slogan that kind of goes with that. I think we'll kind of tie it all together. All right, buddy. That was awesome. That was what we call leading off with Brian. All right, so.
Okay, I'm being told we still don't have Leadership and Laughs t-shirts.
Doggone it all. Would we please get a sponsor? Although every story we talk about, we don't have a sponsor.
Yeah.
So, all right, Brian. I've got a new segment for you today. This used to be called They Did What? Or They Said What? Or whatever. I'm going to change it a little bit, buddy. I'm going to move this segment and call it Congratulations, You're an Idiot. Does that sound a little bit better for you?
Congratulations, You're an Idiot.
Right, because when we talk about leadership, we want to make sure we make good decisions and safe decisions and the right decisions, and we don't want to make idiotic decisions. So, let's go through these, Brian. And if you're watching and listening along, if you happen to be live with us, I would love for you to chat in the comments because like my buddy Todd did here, he just put something out that said PBJ. It doesn't add value, but I appreciate I appreciate him doing that.
It makes me hungry.
Yeah. See, that's me though. Pete Blank Jr. See, that's where the PBJ comes from.
I was thinking of something else.
Let me check with you because last week we had some comment issus. Are there any comments coming through on your screen?
Actually, no, I'm not seeing any comments other than PBJ from Todd.
Just want to make sure that we're good. All right, so here we go. Are you ready for Congratulations, You're an Idiot story number 1?
I'm ready. And I'm potentially an idiot, so.
Well, luckily, none of these are about you. So there's a furniture company in the Midwest called Menards, and Menards has over 300 home improvement stores throughout 14 states. Well, they've got one of them supervisors, one of them leaders, Brian, who you kind of say, hey, maybe you need a little bit of coaching, a little bit of feedback, perhaps, because they've got an EEOC lawsuit against them. And let me give you the background. According to the EEOC's lawsuit, a hardware department manager received a complaint, Brian, that the assistant manager was sending pornographic messages to a female subordinate.
Yeah, that's usually frowned upon.
Right. I mean, I guess we don't know. It's not in the handbook, but you probably shouldn't do that. So the female employee showed one of the messages to management, and she said, I don't feel comfortable working with this assistant manager. The department manager, in another act of Congratulations, You're an Idiot, said the following. Hey, he went back to the assistant manager and said, I'm not going to do anything, but just make sure you don't, quote, dip your pen in the company ink, unquote. So the assistant manager continues to harass female employees. Now, Brian, we're not done. 1 year later, a different female employee complained to the department manager about a pornographic message she received. The department manager again failed to act on the complaint, and the manager continues to harass. Brian, would you believe 6 months after that,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Approximately 6 months after that, another complaint was made to Human Resources and the assistant general manager, and it was at that point that they finally investigated. He admitted to all the wrongdoing, and they terminated him. So the EEOC is now suing Menard and saying we're going to have to take you to court for some of this stuff. Brian, your thoughts?
I mean, some people just can't get out of their own way. Right. You would think that leadership training probably not a good idea, says Sherry. Yeah.
So they're going to have to work their way through it. But again, I don't understand how we talk about this every time that we do a segment like this. How do people think this stuff is still good? Okay, I just don't.
I don't know. It is. I mean, it's not 1965 anymore. I think Mad Men went off the air a while ago. And,
yeah.
It's. I just feel like we should know this. I mean, not only are you exposing yourself to your employees, but you're exposing the company to lawsuits.
Right.
And our good friend Laura Ballard Hership's comments, unbelievable.
Unbelievable, says
LBA.
Laura. Thank you. Laura, you think that one's unbelievable? Stay tuned, buddy. I've got one from a company called Nice Systems. Hey, who's been pregnant out there? Anybody been pregnant out there, Brian?
No, this is just chicken wings and beer.
Would you believe? I wish I had a.
That was easy.
All right, so I wish I had. I wish people knew that pregnancy discrimination was still illegal. I don't know when we forgot that you can't discriminate against someone. I forgot when this law stopped being enforced, but apparently Nice Systems Incorporated, hashtag not a sponsor, provides software for customer experience. The EEOC is going to be after them as well. The employee informed her supervisor she was pregnant. Hey, by the way, boss, I'm pregnant. I want to let you know. So like all good leaders, like all good leaders who are idiots, he stopped assigning her sales leads and denied her commission payments. When she complained, they retaliated against her and said, please stop being so emotional about this. So she left work, had the baby. When she came back to work, she was working in one of the most lucrative sales territories there was. That was taken away from her, and she was reassigned to a sales territory that had little to no clients whatsoever. Nice Systems did nothing to address her complaints. She was forced to resign. The EEOC is going against that because, again, the Pregnancy Discrimination Act and Title VII, blah, blah, blah. Now, let us be fair to all these companies, Brian. The EEOC tries to reconcile this before they go to court. So they come and say, hey, do you want to, do some reconciliation, or do you want to do some voluntary pre-litigation? These companies are so confident that they're not wrong that they say no, sue us. So there might be extenuating circumstances that we don't know about. Maybe these people are poor performers. Maybe they got something else, and she wasn't terminated for being pregnant. She was terminated for poor performance. So there is that possibility, but not what I'm seeing. Congratulations,
you're an idiot.
Yeah, Audrey Stevens, thank you. You're an idiot times 3. All right, Brian, let's do one more. And this is the one where, if you're listening, this one I can see is controversial from a leadership perspective. So I highly encourage us to all play along.
Okay.
All right, Brian. All right. Religious discrimination. This one's recent. This is July 20th of this year, Brian. United Airlines allegedly discriminated against a Buddhist pilot on the basis of his religion when it refused to modify its addiction treatment program to change a requirement. So here's the story. The pilot was diagnosed with alcohol dependency, and he lost his medical certificate from the FAA. Now, United Airlines, good for them, they sponsor something for their pilots. It's got a substance abuse problem. It sends them to treatment. It sponsors them and works with them to get them through treatment, and they will help you get a new medical certificate from the FAA. Okay, so they're totally for you. The pilot, now, one of the requirements of United's program is that the pilots regularly attend Alcoholics Anonymous, or AA. Well, the pilot, who is Buddhist, objected to the religious content of AA and sought to substitute regular attendance at a Buddhism-based peer support group.
Okay.
Now, United refused to accommodate his religious objection, and as a result, the pilot wasn't able to get his FAA medical certificate, permitting him to fly, and all of that. So this one, to me, is a little gray. And again, those of you who are in HR, I know we got some HR professionals watching or listening or all of that. what is a reasonable accommodation? If United comes out and says, listen, everybody, no matter what race, creed, gender, sexual orientation, whatever, it's Alcoholics Anonymous, period, end of discussion. I know it's a Christian-based organization, but I'm sorry, that's just what it is. Or do they have to, if somebody is Buddhist or Muslim or Sikh or something else, find something reasonable for them to go through?
It sounds like in this story, the employee found something comparable.
Oh, I lost Brian there for a second. Oh, I lost you again. You're back. Go ahead. Go ahead. All I heard was it sounds like from the story.
Well, it sounds like this from the story that the employee came back with something comparable, right? He said, I just don't want to go to AA. I'll go to this other treatment.
Well, what he's got it. What it's called in the lawsuit is a Buddhism-based peer support group. So is it now United Airlines' job to go and vet that program to see that it's equal? Do they have the labor and the manpower to do that? Or is it better to not? Sherry says that, this was a reasonable accommodation. You're saying you can't go to AA, but you can go to this one. Why is United so adamant that it must be AA? We'll find out because, his attorney says, also they tried to reach a pre-litigation settlement and, they said United was inflexible and they refused to make a modest change that would have caused them no hardship. So they're definitely putting their feet in the ground.
Yeah, Rick Johnson Jr. says there should be options like the employee identified.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rick. And I think part of it is when we talk about disabilities, we always talk about reasonable accommodations. We always talk about what can we do and what we can provide. Now, if United Airlines did their due diligence and they came back and said, this is nothing more than 6 people sitting around. Some people have gender issues. Some people have alcohol issues. Some people have domestic violence issues. It doesn't fit what AA does. I mean, maybe. I mean, we really don't know. And again, Carl brings up a good point. He says you've got to have consistent application. So he may be leaning towards the fact that if it's AA, it's AA, period. Others are saying, and again, Sherry, I love my wife. She's up there working so hard. As long as it works for him. If he's going to get off the booze, Brian, by going through this program, they can help him. Why do they care which one it is? But
Debbie agrees with Sherry. Hi, Debbie.
Yeah. Hey, Debbie, thanks for coming on today. She agrees with Sherry. So this one's interesting to me. The first two are cut and dry, Brian. The first two are idiots, harassing people and pregnancy discrimination. This one, I think we ought to follow because I'd be interesting to see why United has said we're putting our feet in the ground for this one. So anyhow, thanks for listening, y'all. Thanks for playing along. This was kind of a fun segment called "Congratulations, You're an Idiot." But now,
hey, what do those gears mean, Pete? What's going on? What's happening?
What do you call it? Leadership statistics game show, Brian? What do you call this?
It's everyone's favorite leadership statistics game show. Over under. Is everybody ready to play?
And over under. Who wants to play over and under, buddy? I know I do. So tell us how to play, because I got to be honest with you, most people who tune in just want to play this game and they sit through the other crap. I'm sorry, the other stuff just to get to this part. So,
all right.
Absolutely. Michael Glaze, thanks for joining us tonight, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being there. Brian, tell us how to play over under.
Well, here's how it works, everybody. I'm going to present Pete with a few interesting and timely statistics. We've been covering a particular bit of research that was done on the employee experience. And I'm going to give Pete a number. And he's going to have to decide if the actual number or percentage is over or under the number that I give him. And you guys can play along. I've actually kept these hidden from Pete, so he's hearing these for the first time. And so feel free to chat along your answers over and under. All right.
Sorry. Okay. And by the way, if you're listening on the replay and you're watching in your car, listening to the podcast, you can play along with us. But if you're with us live tonight on this Wednesday night, type your answers in the comments. We'll put you up there. And again, the person with the most answers gets a free Leadership and Laugh t-shirt. So let's get going. What's that?
Yeah. Yeah. Marketing says we still don't have those.
Still not there. Okay.
No. All right. So over and under, here we go. We said that we talked about employee experience. That's a phrase that has become a buzzword in the corporate world and amongst HR professionals. Employee experience basically, it describes all of the touch points that an employee has at your company, from interviewing to hiring, training and advancement, and especially those employee perks and benefits. And so to shed light on this, a global talent mobility company called Topia surveyed 1,000 full-time traditional office or desk job setting employees who work in large enterprise companies. So companies with 2,500 or more employees. And today we're going to be talking about the important role of technology and how, the role that plays in defining that employee experience.
Okay, got it.
So having sophisticated software and the latest tools is a good place to start with the employee experience. But app overload can wear out your team pretty quickly. So let's figure out what's important to people and to empower them to work in a way that's the most productive for them. Okay. So first question, here we go.
Bring it on.
Employees were asked, how user-friendly are your company's HR tools? How user-friendly are your company's HR tools?
We're talking about things like Chronos. You're talking about things like Workday. And just for fun, in the comments, everybody, go ahead and put the name of one of the most exciting HR software tools that you have to use as part of your daily routine. What's the name of some of the magical tools y'all have? Okay, Brian.
Yeah. Any good ones yet?
No, because no one's really listening. Okay.
That's not true. They love this game.
But Erica's happy to be here. She loves the game. So, all right. Go.
All right. So what percentage said my company's HR tools are simple and easy to use? Is it over or under 50%?
Oh, you like that? We just added that. Is that too loud? Too soft?
No, it's not too loud. I just think it might be too expensive.
Say what? All right. Is it over or under 50%?
Yeah, we have some comments. Our good friend Joseph says, I don't have to use them. He's his own boss.
Boy, way to go. Way to go. Silk Road. Haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
Haven't heard of that. Yeah. Workday, of course. Erica. So you're saying the number of people who claim that they are satisfied with the tools, is that the statement again?
No. What percentage of people said my company's HR tools are simple and easy to use? Over or under 50%?
It's got to be under. It's got to be under. It's got to be under. It's got to be under, because none of these tools are easy to use. Lay it on me, my friend. Come on. Let's do it.
That's right. It is under. Only 41%
Who's your daddy?
HR tools are user-friendly, which of course means 59% said that they are some level of difficult or confusing, right?
That is horrible. Why do we go out and buy these systems and these great salespeople and these great vendors, and they come in and they sell and they say, we can do all this great stuff. And then when they give it to us, the end user, we're like, that button doesn't work. I don't understand this. Why do I got to input this? Why is it here? I don't want to say it's a racket, but it's a racket. So, all right, we're 1 for 1. 1 for 1.
Good job, everybody.
Good job, everybody.
I think everybody said under.
Everybody was a winner there. Everybody was a winner there. Audrey was a winner. Michael, Rick. Nice job, everybody. Nice
what was that song? Right. Everyone's a winner. Remember that?
No. Are you talking about the one from the Lego movie? Everything
that's Everything is Awesome.
Right. Everybody's happy. Like from Pharrell?
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. Come on. You guys know what I'm talking about.
No, and I
Somebody
know
knows.
music. I know music, and no one knows what that song is.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth.
That may be a commercial.
Somebody
Was it a
type it in.
commercial?
Something about hot chocolate. It was hot chocolate.
Okay, the only hot chocolate song that we know is, you know what that one is. I believe in miracles. Where are you from?
That's
you
the
sexy
same
thing.
band. That's the same
Yeah,
band.
they only made one song.
No,
I'm telling
somebody
you,
vet me. Come on, Debbie.
All right, go ahead. Let's get to the second thing before we lose the audience.
Next one. What percentage of employees said they have to use more than 3 apps to complete a single task? Is it over or under 60% of employees said they have to use more than 3 apps to complete a single task?
It's got to be under, my friend. There's no way that in today's technological society and the smart people we have working in business today, there is no way that more than 60% of people are using more than 3 apps or 3 systems to complete one. If that's a problem, go back to Microsoft Excel and just make a spreadsheet. You don't have to, so it's got to be under 60. And you know why I know it's got to be under 60? Because Laura Ballard Herships is smarter than I am, and she also believes it's under 60%. So let's see here. Let's see. Scott's with me on under, and yet here are the 2 negative Nellies out there, Joseph and my buddy Carl. Hope Carl likes the gator behind me, buddy. You digging that? Says over. All right, Erica goes under. What do you got, buddy?
Well, you're correct that Laura Ballard Herships is smarter than you, but she's also wrong. The bell is going to go to anyone who said over. That's Joe and Carl. It's over 70%. 70% of employees who were surveyed said that they have to use more than 3 apps to complete a single HR task.
And you know what? I should have thought of that because you said large companies, over 2,500 people. It makes sense that large companies are going to be the ones that are out there, having money out the wazoo and buying multiple systems. So I'm mad at myself. All right. 1 for 2, buddy. Keep us going, man. Come on.
Here we go. One more. All right. Employees were asked. They were asked. What would improve your tech experience? How many said better training on the tools? Better training on the tools would improve the tech experience. Is it over or under 25%?
So you're telling me that people are saying I would use it if I got trained better. And you're saying what percentage of people said I would be better at the apps and my employee engagement experience would be better if I was trained? Is it
if
over?
I had better training on the tools, right? Over or under 25%?
Training on the tools. Well, of course, it's got to be over. It's got to be over. It's got to be over. I'm just going to keep saying it until somebody agrees with me. It's got to be over.
Got to be over. All right.
No one even wants to play right now because we've all been burned by you before. So, yeah.
Under 0 says Carl. Erica says over. Over says Scott.
Thank you, Scotty. We'll come back. Hey, y'all put your comments in
here.
We'll come back in a few minutes and address some of these questions
you
got.
So the answer is, in fact, over. Yes. However, it's only 31%. That means that 69% of the people who were surveyed were having trouble with the tools themselves. They don't feel like the training is going to help. It's the app itself.
What do you think about Joseph's statement? As a former corporate trainer, that was always a complaint, no matter how much training was offered. No matter how much training is offered, hey, we need more. Hey, we need more
training.
Hey, we need more training. Yeah, training is the issue. Training is the issue, nothing else. Let's go back to your prior one just for a second, buddy, because Scott Payne brought up a good question. He was talking when we were talking about having to do multiple things 3 times. So someone put an example there, like first I've got to email somebody, then I've got to put in a spreadsheet, then I've got to go to a database. I know where I work sometimes we'll have to go into this one system called, let's say, JobsQuest, pull the data out of there, but it doesn't talk to the second data. So I've got to open up Workday over here and bring it in. And finally, I download it to a report and use it over there. So I got to do all that just to get one thing done, Scott. So that's where the panic comes in. That's where I think the stress comes in. And Erica asked, what systems are they using in these companies that's causing, why aren't people just getting one system, Brian? Why is this technology?
That's the goal. I know in my company we're looking at going to a different learning management system, and all the ones we saw. For instance, I would ask each company. I would ask, how does this interact with, can I do live training on it?
Yes.
And what is the reporting that comes out of the live training? So I need to know that Pete Blank attended my training, but I also need to know when Pete Blank signed in and when he signed out, so that it's not one of these things where you just log in and then walk away from your computer.
But Brian, we can't do that because System A doesn't talk to System B, buddy. So
correct.
you're just going to have to manually do all that on your own. In my
example, I have to use we happen to use WebEx as our training, virtual training system, and so I get the report from WebEx, and then I have to bump that up against our internal employee database, and then I have to pull that into Excel, and then I have to pull that into Microsoft Access to run some queries and to get the full report of what we need. It can be a nightmare.
Well, let me tell you something, and this is going to be totally off topic, but the audience will probably appreciate this. When we were at Disney, we used to do a lot of training, and we went through classes, and this is back when things were a lot simpler, before there was a lot of research, and they talked about, are you a visual learner? Are you an auditory learner? Are you a kinesthetic learner? And through the training process, it was always like, visual learners always look up. They always look up when they're thinking and processing. And tactile learners are always looking down and typing. As you were giving that whole talk, your eyes were up the whole time, like thinking of the words.
I was accessing.
I'm like, Brian's a visual learner, according to my Disney training.
I do that a lot.
Yeah,
I do that a lot. And personally, sometimes that gets mistaken. Unfortunately, I tend to have a bit of a sardonic sense of humor as well. And so sometimes when I'm accessing things up here, it gets interpreted as an eye roll.
Yes, and it's not. You're just processing. Rick makes a good point. You got a recruiting system, you've got the onboarding system, you've got the employee development system, you've got an LMS, and again, they're all connected with Microsoft applications. And Rick, do they all talk? Do they all work, or is it just an employee development nightmare? And I think it ties back into Brian's whole topic today, which is, if the employee experience, Brian, is so important, why in the world are we not focused on making the technology part easier? Technology should make our lives easier in the workplace, not harder, and it seems like sometimes
unfortunately,
it's harder.
A lot of times also technology is expensive. And so if you're at a large enterprise type company like a Disney, you're probably going to have systems that work better than if you're at a small, couple hundred, small mom and pop type business.
Absolutely. Hey, did you say Disney, by the way? Did you say Disney?
I said it.
Oh man, does this music remind you of walking? There's us with the boss, man. There's us. Do you remember?
Look,
Walt Disney World, the magical place. It's time for our segment, buddy, we call the Daily Disney, which is ironic because this is a weekly show.
Couple of young pups in those pictures. I love it.
Man, but this music, man, it makes you feel like like there's a parade coming, even though there's a huge Actors Equity Union squabble right now and there are no parades. But still,
this exhibit is closed.
There was. this exhibit is closed. So, all right, guess what we're going to do tonight, buddy? Tonight for our Daily Disney. For those of you who don't know, me and Brian worked at Disney for a combined over 30 years, and we'd like to just talk a little bit about it. It's not the perfect company. Brian, this just in, and for all the people who plan on robbing my house, this also just in, I'll be taking a Walt Disney World road trip sometime in the month of September. I have finally decided that I need to see what this looks like for myself. Shoot some Pete's Points videos while we're down there, talk to some cast members, get some data, wear my mask, and see if the Disney magic during COVID, what that actually looks like. So we're going to go down for a long weekend, buddy, and check it out. I'm sure I'll have some photos and stories.
You're going to wear a mask?
Mandatory, buddy. Mandatory.
What?
Got to wear them the whole time in 80-degree heat. No, yeah, in cool 80-degree cool 80-degree heat.
Just in case you don't know me, I'm joking. Always wear your mask.
Wear your mask, buddy, all the time. All right, so we're going here, buddy. Walt Disney's famous quotes today. We're going to pull this bad boy out. And I was doing some research for a different project I was doing recently, and I found some old Walt quotes about kids and about youth and about teenagers. And as schools are beginning to start right now, and as schools are beginning to go back in, and as we are getting ready, to kind of do all this parenting, whether you're online or not, I found it so cool that Walt had a lot of quotes about this. So are you ready, Brian? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I wonder if you're going to use my favorite Walt quote.
Laughter is no enemy to learning. Did I get it?
It's also Laura Ballard Hership's favorite.
Wow.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
All
Turn
right.
down for what?
Oh, yeah, you can't play that twice, but we owe.
Right, I know. All right. I knew that was your favorite quote, buddy. I just knew it. All right, now here we go. I got a couple for you here. All right, let's start with, I didn't bring my readers downstairs.
Got to get your cheaters on.
Sherry, got to get my readers down. All right, here we go.
Pete is not frozen.
Nope, I got here. All right. Despite all the publicity about delinquency, now remember Walt said these things back in the 50s. Despite all the publicity about delinquency, America's youngsters are a pretty good lot. One of the things I want to do is make a picture that shows the good side of teenagers. I get so put out with all these pictures about delinquency. One picture upset me for 3 days afterwards. I think these pictures are a mistake. Children get bad ideas when they see such things on the screen, and I don't think they show a true picture of young people today. How about that? Walt went to a movie, didn't like the way kids were being portrayed, and it made him upset for 3 days. Now, again, you're going all the way back to the 50s and 60s. Brian, what is your earliest recollection of a Disney movie? Like, I remember Apple Dumpling Gang.
Oh, yeah.
I remember The Cat from Outer Space.
Sure.
Anybody in the
tennis shoes?
Anybody in the comments remember from the 70s? And I'm not talking animated films. I'm talking about some of your, your Mary Poppins and things like that. Most of those movies, the Shaggy DA, anything with Kurt Russell in it. Most of those movies always showed teenage kids doing good things or, fixing problems or being superheroes or whatever. And I guess if you were to apply to today's, we see a lot of movies these days where kids are either bad or demonized or doing bad things, and he's saying that other kids are going to see those movies and go, that must be the way that we're supposed to act. So really interesting there, I think, as far as the original concept of how he viewed teens. All right, Brian, here's one more. Are you ready? This was going to put a lot of pressure on you.
Okay.
This is Walt Disney here. A child is helpless in choosing what it's to be engraven on his mind during the formative years. The awesome responsibility is assumed, for better or worse, by us adults. Today, we are the shapers of the world of tomorrow. That is the plain truth. There is no way we can duck the responsibility, and there is no reason, except for sloth and cowardice, why we should. Dude, how about that, man? We are the ones. Now, again, we talk about parents have an impact on people and teachers have an impact on people and all of that. But sometimes we kind of don't say things like that. And we're like, kids will be kids and whatever. He's saying this is an awesome responsibility. And if we don't raise our kids and lead our kids, whether they're your kids or your grandkids or kids in your neighborhood or kids in your school the right way, they're the shapers of the world of tomorrow. And people who duck this responsibility is bad. So what's your thoughts on that? Because some people would say that some of the problems today with today's youth who may be a little, who may be struggling, who may be looking to different things like drugs or alcohol, is that they're just not getting the parenting advice that they need. Right.
Yeah, Herbie. I heard a quote the other day, and I thought it was important as well. And it said, children aren't born racist, and there's so much of who we are that is informed by our younger years, and yes, you can grow up and change your mind about things. And I had a professor in college, a law professor one time, who asked a question, and it was a high abortion or something like that, and it got a lot of comments going on, and so many people would raise their hand and say, I was raised to believe it, and the guy would cut him off. He's like, okay, wow, I get that, but at this point you are like a functioning adult. Tell me what I'm not interested in what your parents believe. They're not enrolled in my class. I'm interested in what you believe. And I think I don't know. I think Walt was probably exactly right on this one.
And that's a great point. How many times have we heard people, or have we said ourselves, hey, I was raised to believe that this? Well, I mean, that's great, but you got to, you've got to connect there and have your own. Here's one more. We'll kind of finish up with this one because we're staying on this theme. These are all Walt Disney quotes about the kids. Quote, the American child, Brian. He didn't say Brian in the actual quote, but that would have, how cool would that have been?
The American child,
Brian, is a highly intelligent human being, characteristically sensitive, humorous, open-minded, eager to learn, and has a strong sense of excitement, energy, and healthy curiosity about the world in which he or she lives. Lucky indeed is the grown-up who manages to carry these same characteristics over into their adult life. It usually makes for a happy and successful individual. I knew you'd buy that.
Walt the bell on that one, and that's
yeah,
I think
Mr. ENFP. Yeah, tell me about that, ENFP. Tell me about that.
The fact that Walt realized that back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s is the reason that Walt was successful.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, he was able to connect with that childlike creativity in children, but also, I remember, when we were working at Disney and people would say, wait, you work there all day, but then you still go there on the weekends, and you're like, and you don't even have kids. I didn't have kids yet. And, but yeah, because we did carry that over from our childhood into our adult life, and the wonder and the whimsy.
Yeah. The humor, the open-mindedness, the eagerness to learn, the sense of excitement, the sense of energy. Yeah, this is where something as simple as balloons. I mean, my wife and I talk about this all the time. We say, when did we stop liking balloons? Like I've got a couple nieces and nephews who are, between the ages of like 3 and 8. And boy, when they see balloons, it's like the best day ever. And when are we like, oh gosh, unless it's got helium.
It was the saddest, one of the saddest things that you could see on Main Street is a kid holding their Mickey balloon, and then they lose it, and they just look up and just start crying, and
the world has ended, man. The world, there is nothing. And then Disney Magic pops in, baby. Another one
Service
right there.
recovery. Service
recovery with a smile takes care of that. So again, my takeaway for us as leaders today, as we get towards the end of this show, is I'm sorry, I've got one more in here that ties into I think I can't find it, but Walt said something about he doesn't make movies for adults, he makes movies for kids, and then also for adults who have those types of qualities. That's why, again, a lot of his movies were fun and entertaining. Of course, someone always died. They know the Bambi died, or the this died, or the that died.
Wait, what spoilers?
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. But yeah, childlike quality, because right now, Brian, we're all stressed at work. All of us are stressed in our lives right now. So if we can exhibit some childlike qualities, buddy, we'll be doing a lot better. So that's the Daily Disney, man. That's it. And you know what? That actually wraps up our show for the evening. What do you think about that? How do you think the show went tonight, buddy?
I think the show was great. I'm glad we had some great folks on to help chat us up, and I'll leave you with a did you know?
Hold on. Did you have a did you know?
Did you know? So earlier we talked about how many of our employees have to use multiple apps in order to complete one task. Well, did you know the top way in which employees said their HR technology experience and offerings that their company could be improved is if the applications were more connected, meaning they weren't required to switch between different tools to find information and complete tasks.
That was number one. If all the apps would talk, then I'd be engaged.
Yep.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Did you know?
Did you know? I want to thank my wife for reminding everybody in the audience that Bambi didn't die. It was Bambi's father.
Oh, again, spoilers, dude. What were you doing? I haven't seen it yet.
No one
in
died.
The theaters.
It's not there. We leave
And
you
if
with
my parents
this.
are watching, this is water, by the way.
Yes. Man, we love doing this, and what we love doing this, y'all. Thanks a lot. Appreciate y'all coming. Brian, it's been a good show, buddy. Do it again next week.
Yeah, let's do it again next week.
All right, man. Y'all have a great week.
Love you guys. Bye.
See you later. Bye, everybody.